we're seeing serious injuries coming through again and again and again, mostly head injuries. We're seeing people wrapping sweatshirts and jackets around their heads to protect themselves from the flying stones. Underneath the balcony I'm standing on right now, there is a makeshift triage center with at least 8 bleeding men and women treating them.
That the scene from Ivan Watson, some of his remarkable reporting along with photographer Joe Duran and producer Tommy Evans. In the scene right now in the squares we've been showing you, some ambulances have arrived. More people continue either to be wounded or to being taken from the front lines near the Egyptian hospital to back into the square. There are protesters still holding the square. There are still, we're told, pro-Mubarak demonstrators either there or in the area, although we heard that they had dispersed lately. We haven't got an update on the security situation that we are in, but we're maintaining the situation of us being on the floor and having turned off the lights in our location, trying to make it as secure as possible. We've also set up a barricade that we can use to barricade the door if necessary. I want to show you some of what happened to our team, to my team on the streets outside the Egyptian Museum today as we were on our way to report. And we're showing you this not because what happened to us is particularly interesting or particularly important, because it's not in the big picture, but it is representative of what happened to a lot of reporters today, our Halagarani and others as well. And it shows you just how quickly a crowd can turn and how quickly a situation that seems fine can turn deadly and violent. Here's what we saw earlier today. My cameraman, Neil Halsworth, and my producer, Marianne Fox, and I were heading toward Liberation Square in order to report on both sides of the protests. In order to get there, we had to pass through a crowd of pro-Mubarak protesters.
So it looks like the pro-Mubarak crowd is sort of gathered around the Egyptian Museum, which is at one of the entrances to Liberation Square. The military has this entire area cordoned off, so they wanted to keep the two sides separate. They would be able to, but at this point it looks like the military is just kind of standing by, watching what's happening. You can see them behind me.
I was shooting this video on my flip camera so as not to attract too much attention. Suddenly a man jumped out of the crowd and tried to grab Neil's camera.
Stopped us.
That's when all hell broke loose. People started throwing punches, pushing us around, screaming at us. We immediately decided to turn around and try to get to a safe location. Several Egyptian men helped us, but still the crowd followed, throwing punches. That man there had a knife in his hand.
Hey. I'm taking pictures.
We didn't want to run because we didn't want the crowd to get emboldened, thinking we were scared and chase us.
Sorry.
Hey, calm down. Hey, calm down.
New people kept joining in, trying to punch us. We only had about a block left to go when another guy came up and punched me in the head.
Now like 10 times. Yep. The Egyptian soldiers are doing nothing.
Finally, we reached a safe location.
Something? In. Where you going?
Where's Leo? Where's Leo?
All we were trying to do today was report on both sides of this conflict. All we wanted to do.
Our still guys out there.
So that's what happened to our team earlier today. I want to give you an amended warning. The U.S. State Department has now put out an amended warning to their tweet, which I read you just a few moments ago. It says U.S. citizens wishing to depart Egypt on U.S. government flights should proceed to airport as soon as possible after the morning end of curfew. The previous statement didn't say after the morning end of curfew, but it's obviously good advice. The curfew ends in the morning at 7 a.m. in the morning. So again, U.S. citizens wishing to depart Egypt on U.S. government flights should proceed to the airport as soon as possible after the morning end of curfew. Again, I'm joined here at our location by Hala Garani and Ben Wiedemann. Also, Ivan Watson is in the square, but I'm also joined by John King and Professor Fawad Ajami with the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. Fawad, as you watched this, as I no doubt you did on television today, what was in your mind?
It's so difficult to watch this because I think this was predicted. You know, we talked about it before. We witnessed a revolution. We witnessed civil disobedience, basically, but that's not a game that Mubarak understands. He understands a fight, a cruel fight, and that's what he really wants. I think this man now is sullying his honor as he goes out. But I also don't think, maybe he has a couple of arrows in his quiver. One is to present this revolt against him as an American-inspired movement. He's played that game before. The game of anti-Americanism has always been just the underside of the Mubarak game. The second thing is he wishes to incite violence in the country. So he will be the kind of man who would both be the arsonist who was setting the fire and then the fireman who's putting out the fire. He's presented himself, if you will, as this tough guy who's not going to leave his country. He's not going to be like